Yeah. Hello, this is Dr. Frickin' Evil. This is Mr. Hornsby83 with another edition of Mr. Hornsby83 Topics, and I will be doing my X-Men Days of Future Past spoiler topic show. And like I said about the review, this was my favorite X-Men by far, favorite X-Men movie. I've always loved X-Men. But, yeah, I'm going to start out with where it started at, and it starts out with Kitty and Bishop and Iceman and all of them getting some supplies. I guess it was food or something. I don't know. And or some weapons. I don't know. But then the Sentinels are on their way there. They dropped the Sentinels off there, and they're getting ready to attack them all. And they're mopping the floor with the future X-Men. That's just crazy how much they're mopping the floor with these X-Men. I mean, they're kicking the crap out of these guys. But Kitty cried and Bishop ran into the other room. She sent Bishop's conscience back a few days ago to, warn them so that they don't die. Because essentially they were all dead, it looked like. But then we get to the point where we see Professor X, Magneto, Storm, and Wolverine going to China to meet up with the other X-Men, the future X-Men, and they're all talking about they need to go back in the past to stop this from happening. And then they talk about Mystique, which I thought was great that they intertwined the two storylines together because, in the original X movies, Patrick Stewart's Xavier never mentioned anything about growing up with Mystique or anything like that. But Patrick Stewart's talking about, we gotta stop Mystique because if she kills Bolivar Trask and they capture her and they get her DNA, then his work will, come to fruition, and her DNA is gonna help these Sentinels be able to adapt to the mutants' powers and all that, which then Xavier goes on about how he met her when they were kids and he always felt like she was a sister to him and all that, and Magneto's like, you're gonna need me too because I'm the one that put her on that dark path and this and that, which is true because, Magneto got Mystique on that dark path. So they were going to send the Professor back, but they were afraid he would have, his body would have got damaged and all that, and he wouldn't have been able to handle him transporting back. So they then change, then Wolverine decides to go back because his healing factor can help him and all that, and Kitty's got to keep him from staying. So he goes back to the past, 1973, and he wakes up next to, I'm guessing, a mob boss's daughter, and apparently they had slept together, and some of his henchmen come in and say, you were supposed to protect the boss's daughter, not sleep with her, and Wolverine's like, well, I'm here, but I'm not, I just really got here 5 minutes ago, and before that we got a freaking Hugh Jackman butt shot, which could have done without. I'm sure the women in the audience loved it, but then he beats the crap out of them thugs and takes one of their cars and drives to where the professor's staying. But before we get to him getting to the mansion, we see Mystique checking out some stuff on Boulevard Trask. They show that like Angel, aka Black Queen, was dead. Azazel. And, I didn't get to see all of it. I came in toward the end of that clip because I had to run and refill the popcorn and pop and that. But apparently they killed Banshee off too. I'm like, why are you killing Banshee off? Banshee was actually kind of cool. And, you know, Mystique's battling it. You know, there's also another point where you're getting introduced to Stryker, getting ready to take them to this place where they go to their deaths. And I think I skipped that because I think that happened before all the other stuff I just mentioned. But well, there's a point where they're at a military base and Mystique comes to save Havoc and Toad and all that, and so I didn't get my Wolverine's interaction with Havoc because Havoc's not in the movie that long. And then we go on to the Wolverine goes to the mansion and Beast answers the door and Wolverine's trying to get in and Beast is holding it and he's like, "You're pretty strong for a scrawny little dude. You sure you ain't got no beast in you?" and all that, and it was kind of funny. And then he finally gets the door in. He's like, "You must be Beast. You know, we're going to be good friends someday." And then he punches him in the face. Then they proceed to fight with each other. So it was a pretty hilarious scene. You know, Wolverine got overpowered by Beast because Beast is like, not only is he super intelligent, super fast, he's also super strong. And then we get to him talking to Xavier and that, and Xavier talking to him for a bit, and he was about to walk up. He's like, the Charles Xavier I know wouldn't give up on anybody, especially someone he cared about. And then, you know, he's like, "Oh yeah, I do recall coming to recruit you, and you told us to F yourselves," but that's not what Xavier said. He said F off, so he really botched that one. Then they have to get Magneto, and Wolverine's like, "Well, I know a guy," and it's Quicksilver, and, you know, the part that, you know, everybody says is the best part of the movie. I thought it was pretty good, too. My favorite part, though, I'll talk about later, my favorite part of the movie anyway. But, so they get him, he's sitting there. They go to knock on the door. The lady, you know, Quicksilver's mom, I guess, thought he was in trouble for something, and she's like, "He ain't been nowhere at all today. He's been home all day." They're like, "We're not the police or anything. We just need him for something." And then Quicksilver's down there, he's talking, using his powers and all that, and they're like, "You're not afraid to use your powers?" and that, and then they break into where Magneto is. I think it was the Pentagon or something like that, and I forgot what it was that they had Magneto, but they go to free Magneto, and, you know, Quicksilver and Magneto's going back up in the elevator, but before that, I think some cops come after him, and he uses his powers to take the gun away or whatever, and funnily and ironically enough, Quicksilver said, "You got the power of magnetism? My mom once knew somebody who had magnetism," which was insinuating Magneto was his daddy. Which is kind of weird because, you know, I don't know how old Michael Fassbender's playing Magneto in these movies. I don't know if he's around his 30s, 20s, or whatever, but Quicksilver looked like he was like 16 or so. But then they come up and they see that Xavier, Beast, and Wolverine are there. He recognizes Beast and Xavier. He's like, "Charles!" and Charles punches him, and they start, he's sitting there letting his frustrations out on Magneto from the last one, which was First Class. And then after that, we get the part that everybody says was the best, which is, you know, Quicksilver puts on his headphones because a bunch of security guards are there and they got their guns and that. Quicksilver puts on his headphones and starts going super fast, you know, putting people's hands here, moving the bullets and all that. And so basically, it wasn't Magneto to stop him, wasn't Wolverine to stop him, wasn't Xavier stopping him, but Xavier didn't have his powers because he was taking some kind of serum that to get his legs back, and it blocked his powers. And you know what? Not only did Beast create the cure in X-Men First Class, he created the Nova-flying mutant power thing that, you know, became famous in the X comics and the cartoons and that. And, so then they go looking for Mystique, because Xavier explains everything to him, and then Magneto's trying to be friendly with him, and Xavier's mad because he took Mystique and blah, blah, blah. He's like, you took everything from me, da, 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 da. He's like, well, you know what, you should have fought harder for it. Which is classic, something Magneto would have said to Charles anyway. But, and, you know, Magneto's talking about all the people that died, like Emma Frost and, you know, what they called Angel on these movies. Azazel, talking about how all of them got killed, and they're talking about Mystique and all that, which the movie was corely focused around Mystique, which, you know, no big surprise, because Mystique is becoming popular, especially the Jennifer Lawrence Mystique is becoming very popular. But, so after that, you know, they go there, they find Mystique, she's getting ready to try to kill Boulevard Trask, and, they stop her, and Wolverine sees Stryker, the young Stryker, and he's having flashbacks of what Stryker did to him from, you know, the movies and that, and he almost lost his consciousness, almost tore himself apart. He's sitting there clawing Kitty Pryde by accident. In the future, he don't know he's doing it. And then finally, after, you know, Magneto tries to shoot Mystique to kill her because he's trying to save mutant kind from, you know, her blood getting taken by Boulevard Trask and the Sentinels becoming super powerful. And, you know, he made a mistake because it got a little bit of her blood tissue, so it was almost like it was inevitable it was going to happen. Which, you know, Beast mentioned something about that later in the movie. And, then we go on to, Mystique gets away finally, and Wolverine finally comes back to his senses, because there for a while, future Wolverine had left the past Wolverine's body, but he got himself back together, and, you know, he finally convinces Xavier to use his powers, because they need his powers to find Mystique. He has to give up on the serum, or the mutant power nullifier, and, he lets Xavier read his mind and talk to future Xavier, which, you know, then gets the past Xavier hoping again and everything, and he's trying to use Cerebro to find her, and his brain was fried from all those years of taking a nullifier, and he eventually gets used to use Cerebro again, and, you know, then we get to Magneto taking off on his own, and he's like, well, you know what, these things ain't made in the middle, I'll find a way to control them anyway, because it seems like any way it goes, Magneto always tries to find a way to, you know, control the Sentinels, and he gets control of these Sentinels in the past, which almost screwed up everything again, because then when they go to the conference and all that, you know, they're going, Mystique at first is coming after Boulevard Trask, which Boulevard Trask and Bishop really got underutilized a lot in this movie. Hopefully if Bishop's in this next one, the Apocalypse movie, which I doubt, which I'll get to that at the end, but you know, they need to utilize him more. I mean, they already said they're going to utilize Quicksilver more and that, and apparently it's going to be the young versions of Scott Summers, Jean Grey, and that, so hallelujah. Because I think it's ridiculous that Havoc was a part of X-Men before Cyclops, because that wasn't the case in the comics or the cartoons or anything like that. But, yeah, and then Mystique kind of had a change of heart. There's a point where Magneto was going to try to kill Nixon and Trask and all that. But, and, you know, Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and their mom are watching this on TV. Mystique turns on Magneto, and then she tries to kill him, but Xavier finally convinces her, and while this was happening, Magneto, like, took some metal from a piece of block wood or whatever, or block brick or something, and put it all on Wolverine and sent him off to a lake or something. So Wolverine nearly drowned, almost died in the past. But then we get Xavier talk to Mystique, convincing her not to do this because it's gonna ruin everything, and you know what? And he's like, you know, talking to her like a brother would to a sister when the sister's about to do something crazy, or like a sister would do for a brother if they were about to do something crazy. And you know, Mystique says, "All right, I won't." You know, walks away. Then while this is going on in the future, the Sentinels find the future X-Men and wipes out half of them. Even almost kills Magneto. Takes down, Colossus, Iceman, whatever the one Indian dude's name was, and Bishop, Storm. All of them were dying. Xavier almost got killed until Mystique stopped from killing Trask, and then we get a point where it's back in the future, and Wolverine wakes up, and he's like in the X-Mansion. He's walking through, he's seeing all the X-Men. He sees Beast, he sees Storm, he sees Shadowcat, he sees Colossus, he sees Iceman, he sees Rogue, he sees all the future X-Men he was with. And then he's going to Xavier's room, and, well, Jean Grey's there. So it wipes out what happened in Last Stand, because Wolverine killed her at the end. And he's like, "Oh, Jean," and he's about to touch her, and then you have a hand grabbing Wolverine, and comes to her, it's Cyclops. I think the only reason why Cyclops got killed in The Last Stand is the guy that played Cyclops was going to do the Superman Returns movie with Singer, and Brett Ratner wanted to kill him off. But Cyclops was alive again. It was great to see all the X-Men from the original movies back. I'm not a big fan of Cyclops, but it was good to see him. And then Xavier and Wolverine's talking, and Xavier's asking him what happened and all that, and he said, "Last thing I remember was drowning." But then they show him getting pulled up, and they're saying, "What will we do with this guy?" And Mystique saying, because she was disguised as Stryker, she's like, "I got a special place for him." And I guess maybe Mystique somehow or another killed the real Stryker, so that probably wipes out what happened with 2 and that. And then, we hear the James McAvoy Xavier talking about the future not set in that. Then the movie goes off, the credits roll, and at the end, you see the Apocalypse. He's sitting there building a pyramid, and at first I thought it was the guy from Shameless that played Lit, but then I thought again, I checked it out again, and it looks like the boy that was the Cure boy in The Last Stand, if it was, I'd be right about him being Apocalypse. But that's why I say the way they played it out, it looks like they're just going to introduce Apocalypse in the next X movie. They'll probably do Age of Apocalypse after that, because the next X movie might end with Apocalypse talking with Xavier's son in the future. So maybe there'll be a 4th movie, and then that'll probably be it for the X-Men movies. I hear there's supposed to be an X-Force movie next, so we'll have to wait and see how these next X movies go. There's another Wolverine movie coming out, which Jackman's coming back for that, and the next X movie. But yeah, so please like this video, leave a comment, subscribe for more. I'm Mike Hornsby, and until Saturday, peace out.